Aloha, my name is Nancy Kerner, and I'm a holistic health practitioner, author, intuitive, and facilitator of women's circles and retreats for over 3 decades. I love my family and witnessing people break the shackles of fear and pain into love, prosperity, peace, and infinite possibilities.
Posted curtain call Thursday. The C and the T are posted curtain call Thursday. The C and the T are capitalized. CT in Gematria is 23. End 23. Next day, Lynn Wood posted this video. What does it look like to you? A curtain call. When do you see a curtain call? What is a curtain call? It's when the actors come out at the end and acknowledge the audience.
There's your curtain call. There it is.
Who is Lynn Wood? LW, 35. Lynn, 35. Lance, 35. Lancer was JFK's Secret Service name. Follow the pen. Pen, 35. Lynn Wood, LW, 35. Follow Lynn Wood. Who is Lynn Wood? Who posts for Lynn Wood? Look at the photo that he posted of Dan Scavino. Do you know Lynn Wood was a lawyer on the case for JonBenet Ramsey? Where is JonBenet Ramsey? Whatever happened to her? Why was that case not closed? Lynn Wood just posted Galatians 6:7. 6 plus 7 equals 13. What does Lynn Wood do? He posts Bible code. Bible code 57. Katie, 57. Is it true that Katy Perry is JonBenet Ramsey? Whatever happened to JonBenet Ramsey? Lynn Wood was a lawyer on that case. Why was it never solved? Is Katy Perry Matthew Perry's sister? Are they connected to Pizzagate? Why did Katy Perry post a picture about pickleball on her Instagram? Just like Matthew Perry did before he died. Katy Perry is a singer. When does a bird sing? She's a singer. She will sing. She will tell all. Everything is connected. Hollywood, JonBenet Ramsey, politics, Lynn Wood. Everything is connected. Get ready for the end, Patriots. They're telling you it's coming fast.
Aloha and welcome. Happy Aloha Tuesday, everyone. I'm Nancy Kerner. I'm your host, and Allison is our producer. And I just want to thank everyone for supporting our donation request for Allison, and we really, really appreciate it. We're not out of the woods yet. And Allison, did you want to come on and say hello real quick? Because, you know, she took a couple days off this weekend. She was like frying. Aloha, what did you want to say?
Oh, the outpouring of love has really touched me. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. There's been many, and I'm so grateful. God is so good to me. I'm very blessed, and we appreciate it. We are making the most of it. We here getting everything we can out to you. And I'm excited to share some of the news we have today that Nancy found, that I found. We just all gather, just put it together for you. But mostly we try to empower you, and that's the important thing here. So I appreciate your responses ever so much. Mahalo.
Thank you. And I'm so grateful that we both got to take the weekend off and get some time in nature and ground ourselves, because you've been burning it at both ends. I see you up very late when I'm up late, and then very early. So thank you. You're amazing. And we couldn't do the show without you. And I hope you're enjoying all of her content that she's posting. It's the way that we together are able to help you to see this military code through Q that has been guiding us, and that we're watching this movie play out. All this has already been done. And as we, escalate into a World War III type scenario, I like what Allison said, it's like, we go within, we trust ourselves. And some of you don't know, and some of you do, what's going on behind the scenes. And this curtain call is huge. Are you ready for it, Allison?
I'm excited. It's like all coming into place. Knowledge is power. And when you know the backstory of so many of these things, when you get to see some of I know some of you aren't familiar with gematria, but the saying numbers don't lie, it's real. It's truly amazing and miraculous to me how God has put all these in the Bible, they're everywhere. That you take a word and take it apart, it's amazing. So the things we're going to be sharing today are to give you tools to help you feel, because when you know what's going on, there's no fear.
Yeah.
So that's my goal.
Beautifully said. Thank you. Aloha. Wow, wow, wow. Well, I have the peace wand and the love wand and the acceptance wand. Yet the peace wand is particularly important right now because the mainstream media wants you to be afraid. And all these wars in our past have been created by the multi-military Mossad media. And it's all for money. It's all for power and control. And so as we enter this escalation into war, I want to remind you that this is a movie in terms of we're not going to be in World War III. On a couple of notes, Phil had told us this many months ago, that Israel would do some kind of an attack, and that Russia was going to be there to help keep them reined in on their attack. And so Israel did do the attack, and we'll have a video later about that to show you what happened as Israel attacked Iran's embassy in Siberia. So these things are escalating. And as the escalation in the Mockingbird media continues to try and tear down Trump, good luck with that. It isn't happening. He's winning, and he's going to continue to win, because this is part of the movie as well, to expose lawfare, to expose the corruption, the bought and paid for judges and prosecutors from George Soros. All these people, WEF and the CDC and the WHO, they've all been taken care of. We're just, if we didn't have the opportunity to wake up slowly as we start to believe, hey, what's wrong here? There's something wrong with this picture. Why are people dying all over the place? Why are children being rescued? Why? Yet if you've got tunnel vision and you're committed to believing the narrative of the Mockingbird media, then you're not going to see it. And the only way that Allison and I, and you, if you're awake here, most of you are, have been able to put these pieces together is from our own experience in history that led us up to this point when in 2021, January 2021, it all broke loose with the election fraud. We knew that COVID was a pandemic. We knew it going into it. We were watching the hospitals rake in big bucks for the treatments that they were giving people. We know that the HIV AIDS was actually activated in Africa using the smallpox vaccine. And we know that Bill and Melinda Gates were hung in India in 2013 for maiming and harming and killing their children through those vaccines, many different ones. So what you're seeing are people who are actors, puppets, stand-ins, and or clones that have been created for this movie. And the white hats are in control, as we say. The white knights have been helping rescue businesses from corporate takeovers for decades. And we watched it happen with Apple. We watched it happen with Steve Jobs as his board voted him out, etc. And so that's what these white knights have been doing, is helping the corporations and companies to be able to have an alternative way of taking back control of their companies. And some people speculate that Steve Jobs is actually John Lennon. I don't know if that's true or not. We don't know who is who, white hat being good, black hats being the cabal, until we get to the final curtain call. Now, if this is true, that the actors Obama, Clinton, and who was the third one standing up there? Oh, we had Obama, Clinton, and Biden. How could I have forgotten that? My goodness. Then that means that the movie is coming to an end when you see Biden step, whatever, however that's going to happen, exit stage left for the actor who has, these actors deserve Emmys because they've got so many people fooled that they are really who they say they are. Well, in the 1990s, in the later 1990s, I remember seeing Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the 5 Agreements. I was looking for my card deck because it was the first card deck I purchased in 2000 when I opened up the Women's Room, a holistic health counseling practice for women. And we had group scenarios in there. It was when I first came out professionally, and it was such an amazing experience. Yet when I saw Don Miguel Ruiz, he said, and he writes this in his book, if you have read the 4 Agreements, yeah, 4 Agreements, then Oh, thank you, Sil. We appreciate your support. My goodness. I didn't even know we could do that. Oh, thank you. Every little bit helps. You have to know that every little bit helps. And anyways, and for donations of $25 and over, $25 and over, I'll send you a $5 billion agro check. Mark Z says these are going to be worth $1.6 million in the great RV. But back to what Don Miguel Ruiz said. He said, your life is like a movie. You're the director, the writer, the actors. You control, you choose which actors you allow into your movie and which ones you want to cut from your movie. And I took that to heart because I've been on spiritual, emotional, relationship, financial, metaphysical journey for 35 years. So to me, that just seemed very natural. Okay, so that's one more way for me to take my power back, to recognize that I am the one who creates my part of the movie in life. And you're the one who's creating your part of the movie in life. And this is so exciting because even though I didn't study the Bible, we're getting a lot of information that is showing us that this was predicted. And the, Revelations, there are passages that friends that I've met have shared with me. And I can't deny that some of this is so spot on for what was written. Now, yes, there's so much controversy over whether the Bible is in essence how it was presented originally. And the vote that I hear over and over again is there have been parts that have been excluded, there are parts that have been changed, and there are parts that are missing. I'm not God. I cannot tell you for a fact on that. What I can say is trust your intuitive intelligence, your connection to the divine within you and around you. I was noticing how my body was buzzing with energy this morning. Yes, I have my wave watch on. Yes, I am cleansing, yet this energy is etheric energy from the earth, from the sun, from connecting with nature. And I got in my kayak and I rowed and I paddled and I thought, oh, I'm going to wake up so sore. I'm not sore because of the nutraceuticals that I take and put in my body. My tissues and cells are buzzing with life force energy. And that's what I want for everyone. I want your body to come alive as you connect to the divine within you, shift from fear and ego's need to be right. This isn't about being right. This is about being prepared into our heart where we open and we shift into neutral from the ego mind to our relational mind, our heart mind, the biggest energy center that we have is in our heart. And so my calling isn't to save souls, it's to open hearts. And in my practice, it's always been non-denominational. I sit with women who say prayers and fast in Hindu, in Arabic, in Jewish practices, and Christian and Catholic. We aren't divided by our spiritual practices. We're divided by our closed ego mind that says there's only one right way. And for me, I want you to know that we welcome everyone. We're peacemakers, we're healers. The Prosperity Playground is lifting our consciousness as we heal those emotional and traumatic wounds from the past. Because if we keep dragging them into the present now, then that's what we're going to get more of. So as we heal, as we open, as we connect and commune with other light-minded, I call us light-minded people, because we're focused on the light, not the darkness. And although this is a very challenging transition for so many people, because people say, I'll believe it when I see it. And yet we were taught by Dr. Wayne Dyer, believe it and you will see it. Believe it and you will see it. And I want to say a hands off to the Canadian group that is just recently, oh my goodness, Miss, I don't even know if you want me to say your name, but the Crystal lady from Canada who has been sharing this information, and she's brought friends who didn't know us, and they've donated to the cause as well. And so that some people are just waking up to the revaluation, the great awakening and the global currency reset, and they don't really know where to go and what to do. And so if you join the Telegram chat, go into the chat and ask questions, or send me an email at nancy@nancykerner.com, because I'm trying to get you the links that I use and that I trust in my sources where to buy currency. Some of these, I just buy these on eBay now. These aggro are all over eBay, and they come in different denominations, 50 billion, 100 billion. And so why is this important? I'm not sure I covered that on Thursday. This is yeah, we had a double header Thursday. We had Jeremy in the afternoon, and you sure seem to enjoy him. I hope he'll come back and bring Patriot Princess with him. It may be on a Saturday for her to be able to be available. And yet, where was I going with that? The aggro. Oh, so when on Thursday's first show at 11 a.m., I was sharing about the agros and showing different pictures, etc., of the agro and the Zim and the Iraqi dinar. So there really is a purpose for all of this. And as Mark Z tells the story, initially the Zim, this is different than the agro. They're both from Zimbabwe. The Zimbabwe Zim for 10 trillion, 50 trillion, I think there's 20 trillion, and the 100 trillion, also known as the 100T notes. These were set up for people who were leaders, pastors, ministers, etc., in large churches or in churches, because they knew that they would create great humanitarian projects with these people. And then they realized there's a lot of good people like you out here who would do good with humanitarian funds. So the agro was rolled out so that anyone could participate in being able to have that money, no strings attached, and that you would do good with that. So remember that. Are you a responsible steward of these funds? I know that my crystal lady friend in Canada said when she found out that the 5B that I was sending over was going to be worth that amount of money, 1.6 million, according to Mark Z and others, she said, I will help so many people with this. And it just landed in my heart. And I'm like, that's the woman who deserves to receive everything that is coming to her. So that's what our community's been about for all these years. We've been focusing on the prosperity playground. All people deserve to be powerful, prosperous, and productive in their purpose. So as we move into this transition, I really want to bring people together to talk about your projects or to learn more about talking about your projects and how to prepare for them and what you need to have ready in order to move forward. Because I've written out a couple of different projects on paper. And when this happens, you might think, well, I don't know anything about business, Nancy. And it doesn't need to be complex or complicated. Some of you are network marketers and you have products that you want to share. Some of you are artists and you want to teach. Some of you are healers and you want to start your retreat centers. Some of you want to be a host for med beds. We don't know what that looks like yet, although people are putting together their plans for an office building and how much it would cost to run that office building and who would they need to be in charge. Because if money wasn't an issue, what would you choose to do with your time, your talent, and this new treasure that's on its way to everyone through Nasara Jasara, which is separate from the global currency reset? Now, the currency that is being collected from nations all over the world who were once connected or staved off, if they could, the central banking system. This money, as we're watching the market watch, I'm kind of giving you today's show in a nutshell. As we're watching the market watch, and we know that it's going to have a big collapse and it's going to be scary for people who aren't prepared for that. And yet to us, we're excited because that means as we move away from non-compliant Basel III, Basel IV banks, only the ones that will be left standing are Basel III and IV compliant, although they're not going to be managing our daily transactions in the banking system. They're going to help us to move it to the quantum financial system. It's probably already there, sitting there, waiting for us like a baby in the nursery. And then we just need this event to happen and activate and be able to go to the bank and turn in your foreign currency. If you have a Zim notes, those may be handled at a different location than your Wells Fargo or your Chase or your Bank of Hawaii or your Canadian bank, Royal Canadian, I think. Miss Wendy, I heard that Mark Z actually told us what bank it was going to be at. So I think it's the Royal Bank of Canada or something like that. It's this money that comes through the RV from these bills into your wallet are going to flood the earth with the resources to start the process of taking our power back to live those dreams that we've dreamed about for decades. Maybe you're new to dreaming. Maybe you're like one of my first clients who said, Nancy, when we were creating our dream boards, she said, my dreams fell off the board. My husband and I are separated. My kids are angry over it. We're living in separate houses. I just lost my ability to dream. And she was numb. And by the end of the 12 weeks, she was reunited with her husband. I'm not saying all separations are, no, you choose. What relationships are here to serve you and your higher purpose and for you to serve your partner? It's definitely about giving and receiving. And so as you get those funds, you have a responsibility to yourself, to your community, if you so choose to flood the world, your world, no matter how little or how big your world is, to be able to create the reality that we've all longed for. How many of you gave up on the IRS going away? 35 years been waiting for that? How long have you been waiting for the fiat dollar to go away and to become gold-backed United States Treasury notes? 35 years been waiting for this. How many of you have wanted to see a change in the medical system and stop giving us all these toxic and often deadly shots? I know too many people who have paralysis due to an unexpected reaction from one of those vaccines. This is all real, and this is hard to wake up to. We have been victims. We have been suppressed on our rights for clean water, clean air, and healthy nutritional supplements that will prevent, heal, and actually get rid of those parasites they love to call cancer that are in your body now. And I'm actually having Nurse Christy back on the show. She called me yesterday and we connected, and we got very excited over some of the ways that you can balance your blood sugar and you can get rid of some of these things in the metals that are that have been in injections, they've been in the food, etc. And so many people are having wonderful, wonderful results. So, take what you like and bless the rest, because someone, this is what I learned when I started having my own circles on my own in 1990, yeah. Started having circles of women in the basement of a secondhand store. And I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that I'd been sitting in circles of women in recovery from drug addiction, alcohol, etc. And we were having incredible results by being in a community, talking about our stories, writing our stories, doing rituals to bless and release the stories, and opening up to our higher power and asking, you steer, I'll pedal. Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? And to whom? And so in those early circles, that's where I realized you know what? Not everyone's on the same page. And when you're involved in a group, it's important to know the principles of the group. It's not about controlling everything that you say. It's about being respectful to yourself and to the other people, passing the wand, whether it's the peace wand or the love wand or the sacred love light candles, and focusing on listening. Because sometimes we're so busy thinking about what we would say that we don't hear the person who's speaking. And being deaf in one ear, listening has been such an important practice for me, to listen carefully, to pay attention, to not be multitasking to the best of my ability when I'm on the phone with somebody, when I'm communicating, because that's what the American Indians, the Native Indians, the First Nations, as they call them in Canada, is that, they come together and people want to talk, the white man and the natives, and yet the white man has trouble taking the cotton out of their ears and put it in their mouth. And so the elders said, please listen to what we're saying. It's not always the person jumping up and down, talking the loudest and screaming at you, do something. Although sometimes people do that. It's about listening to spirit, listening to your higher self, your conscious, which is the prosperity playground, rising in consciousness. And rather than pointing fingers at everyone else and have those three pointing back at us, it's best that we sweep our own porch. And if we have a light to shine in the world and a microphone to turn on, or just talking to your friend, then that's important. You're doing your part. And you know what? Christy and I were talking about the people in the 30s and 40s who were waking up through TikTok. And I had one of those experiences last week. One of my son's good friends from childhood, he was watching the show. And now he and I can talk about those things. So we never know who's going to be the messenger. Please don't shoot the messenger. Oh my goodness. Did you have anything you wanted to say there, Allison? I haven't been keeping up on the chat. I'm not a speed reader like Mark Z. Was there anything that you needed to report on, or just keep going?
I just wanted to let you know there are links I put in the chat for a link to the humanitarian project planning sheet that kind of walks you through some ideas to get you going. And I will put that in the description as well. But it's not rocket science. I was just sharing in the chat a little bit about what I'm doing, and I'm so excited about it. With sort of I haven't come up with a name yet. It hasn't come to me, but it's all about an academy of sorts with a garden nursery and a little farm to grow our own and use the electroculture throughout, and alternatives to the pesticides by alternate planting different plants next to each other, And then my daughter, as a bridge of that, will also have her part of the project that she's doing. It's called Blueprint for Parents. I'm so excited about it. I'm sorry, I thought my camera was on there, people. She's got she's an RN and specializes in cardiology, and she's wanted to be a nurse since she was like 10 years old. Started volunteering as early as possible, and she loves babies. She's in the ICU. That's her specialty, neonatal ICU. And she wants to teach those classes, and came up with an idea that's brilliant for bedtime peacemaker for all you mommies who have such a difficult time getting your babies to go to sleep. She's brilliant. So I'm excited about it. And it's like Nancy said, you don't have to be a business mogul. I certainly am not. I don't have any degrees except in life. I have a PhD in life 101. And it really just amounts to thinking, what would bring me joy?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first question. And then you can ask all the other little ones. But if there's something you don't know how to do, like I'm 62. I don't want to be doing gardening, like really hard labor all my life, right? So I'm going to hire people that know how to do that and manage it and are on the same wavelength and understand, it'll all fall into place if you just follow your heart, people. That's all I want to say.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. And that's the power. Thank you, Allison. That's the power of talking and speaking about this out loud, because many of you might be going, what? Humanitarian projects? And yet it's so beautiful to think about having your own farms, growing your own food, having the staff to do that. I'm in the same camp. I've got a degree in environmental horticulture. And in Hawaii, the flora is messy. And so there are gardeners who come out almost every day to clean up the messiness of beautiful Mother Nature. And so this is such an exciting time if you don't get caught up in the Mossad Mockingbird media of fear, division. We're here to unite, not divide. And so I had this experience on Sunday morning. I woke up, and how many of you have had this experience? I woke up, and the first thing that happened was I came up for air. It was like, and I went, wow, that was a profound one. And so I'm relating it to like that movie Avatar, when he's in the sleep chamber and he's transitioning from one world to another, from the Avatar land and his Avatar body into this world. And I have long believed that astral planing is real, or, that during my dream state time, I go someplace and I have these conversations and experiences. When I come back, as soon as I wake up, I start piecing that dream back together so it's fresh in my mind. Or I used to write them down. Well, this time I caught the tail of the dream in my conscious mind, and then it just evaporated and was completely gone. And it seemed very important that this mission that I was on in my dream was very important to collect information to bring it back. So as we are in the 3D world of only believing what you can see, taste, touch, feel, hear, in transitioning into the fourth dimension of consciousness and the fifth dimension of spiritual ascending. As we move through this transition time, we don't know what it's going to look like. Just trust that you and your body and your life is living in a divine appointment. You are not less or more powerful or needed than the person on this side of you or that side of you or across the screen from you. Each and every one of us has been given a mission from our creator, from our higher power. And that is the mission for us to lean into. We don't get to see the whole map, compass, staircase of the mission. And yet, when we do pick up things like Q and know that that's came around since Lincoln, and that after Kennedy was assassinated, that Q ramped up. And so when we see this bridge collapse in Baltimore, the point I want to connect you to is what was on those ships in Baltimore and what is the movie exposing and showing you what occurred. And there was something else I was going to say. Oh, and the Coast Guard manages the seaways and the ports, apparently, unless we're at war. And then when you're at war, the Navy takes in. What is so important about the Navy? Well, think about all those memes with frogs in them. I think that's the connection to the frogs being in military and the Navy. So we're seeing the greatest exposure on earth. And that brings me to one more thing that I want to share with you. Did you ever see the movie The Shining? It came out in 1990. Jack Nicholson, scary, creepy guy, blood, weird, strange, bizarre movie. Yet, I've watched it a couple of times in the past. A while ago, somebody said, watch the movie 237, Room 237. That's the name of it, Room 237. And so yesterday I took some time out to watch it finally because I was closing tabs and it was still up. And what I learned there was Stanley Kubrick had actually filmed that movie and started to drop code for us to pick up and see that had to do with the annihilation of the Indians, had to do with Apollo, had to do with blood, children, sex, adrenochrome. It had to do with the maze. It had to do with the telepathy being used and how people were manipulated into doing things. It's so full of information and people who dissected those films. Now, apparently, Stanley Kubrick created Eyes Wide Shut with Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise as a couple who almost slipped into the cabal's chambers, and they actually were able to get out of it. And so there's another film that I'm going to look for. Feel free to send it to me if you've already found it. And it is the breakdown of Stanley Kubrick's film of that one. Now, one thing that I heard in this film or somewhere was that The Shining was Stanley Kubrick's way of making some sort of, not amends, but that he felt bad because get this, you ready? He was the one who filmed in the studio the moon landing. So, did he know that going in? When did he wake up? When did he have a change of heart? What's the story of Stanley Kubrick? So there's a whole maze and mystery around there. And if you know Charlie Freak, he breaks down musical songs, Hotel California, Dark Side of the Moon, all these people, artists, filmmakers, Hollywood actors were trying to make films and music that would wake us up. And yet we were clueless until whenever it was that you woke up to whatever part of the movie that you're watching. So I found that all very fascinating because I believe that we're decoding the times that we're in. It's not television who's telling the truth. It's the truthers, the patriots, the Q team, and the white knights and white hats. And I have 100% belief and faith that JFK Kent Jr. is alive and has been working behind the scenes because there was a hit on him. And I believe that JFK Sr. lived, and whether he's alive today or if he passed away a couple years ago, we don't know if they had to slow it down for us because the anons were moving way too fast. And the people weren't waking up as fast. So there needed to be a slowdown of information. And Dr. Christiane Northrup came on, and I listened to her podcast a couple days ago. She does these 10-minute ones. They're really great. And she said, we didn't know it was going to take this long 4 years ago. And she's just breathing in this peace. And that's what I feel too, this tremendous peace. And yet we've got to go through these motions day to day of reclaiming our power and reclaiming our truth and our rights and our Constitution, our health bill of rights, where people cannot do things to our bodies unless we give them permission. Health bill of rights. Thank you, Dr. Betsy. We have them. You have choice. You have power. I was on a chat yesterday and a woman was getting ready to go for another mammogram because she had cancer before. And, I've never had one, never will. And I would also like to invite you to do some research on mammograms. Look at Sweden. Look at Switzerland. I get them mixed up. I think it was Sweden. And they banned them years ago, like 2014. These radioactive x-rays that we're getting called mammograms are not good for our bodies. We don't need to be afraid of cancer. We can cleanse our bodies of the parasites. We can flood our bodies with nutrition, just like we're going to flood the world with the financial renaissance that we are all a part of. So yeah, I get on my soapbox around the health because Do No Harm is an excellent book, and it's by a doctor who exposes prostate exams, mammogram, breast exams, all those things set up for failure. You might be saying, well, I survived. I did that. You don't even need to survive it. You can prevent it and you can heal it yourself. And this is the new paradigm we're stepping into: frequency healing, nutraceutical healing, parasite cleanses, liver cleanses. All these things are natural ways that our bodies respond to. Yet so many people go, oh, no, I don't want to go a day fasting. I like my whatever's too much. I don't want to pick on anybody. And yet today is day one of a 2-day cleanse for my husband and I. We really, really love the energy and vitality, and it's like a spiritual awakening and rebirth. So anyways, I'm going to move on now. Allison's probably going, Nancy, come back to us. So she has a great video, and the reason she's going to show this video, it has to do with the children, is because this is what is going to wake us up when we see that they were after our children. And they had tunnels from the Vatican to Maui that they have, cleaned out. All under us, there's these deep underground dumps. And yet, the number one way that they traffic children all over the world is through the seas under Admiralty law, which no, bye-bye, no more Admiralty law, constitutional law. And how they did it was they labeled these children as live art. It's the biggest commodity. I read that it costs my goodness, what did I read? I want to say $1 billion for a liter of adrenochrome. It's a lot of money. And now I wished I would have kept that somewhere. So if you see that, you come across it, I would like to see that again. And with that, let's see what Allison has for us on rescuing the children.
I'm not sure if it's from the movie, Cause somebody let me know it's from the Sound of Freedom. Cause it don't look like this. Look like real events. Are those Hispanic children? Oh my goodness. That's a shipping container. No. Oh my goodness. More. Oh my.
Yay, children that are alive and rescued. This is how I see the white hats working behind the scenes. I have noticed how many implosions there are, how many small earthquakes, and 10, is it 10 centimeters? I don't know metric, below. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to read my love notes. Below the earth, right? So I've got to find my notes from Miss Allison. She was told it was generals that formed Q originally in 1860 and put Lincoln into office, and then the Khazarian Mafia moved back in then. Yes, yes, yes. Hey, watch Restored Republic. They go to their website, restoredrepublic.co, and watch those videos. You will get excellent red pills on those videos. They're amazing. And Allison said she posted a link to my website where you can find those links on the Patient Bill of Rights. And I'm not sure if there were other ones there. Janet says 100% Stanley Kubrick. He, like the rest of us truthers, had to be selective with sharing information as not to trigger or alert the evil ones. What better way than a scary movie? Laughing out loud, I tried. Well said, Janet, and thank you for supporting us. We really appreciate you. And also, Allison posted the link for the humanitarian project planning sheet. And you know what? We're just all here to serve one another and help each other to reach our dreams. And, impossible is I'm possible. Yes, you are. And you can hire people to grow those gardens because I know that's not something that's on my to-do list. I've done enough gardening in my life. I'm ready to have gardeners. My husband does a great garden. My goodness. Okay, so what we're going to show you now is there is an escalation in the news. Are you guys seeing that? I'm not sure if any of you are seeing that. And so as we were told, and as I mentioned earlier, Israel was going to plan an attack. And of course, when Israel plans an attack, there's a connection to the United States for supporting Israel. So then we have NATO. We have all these converging, the Russians, Ukraine, which is a battle over that port. That's a warm port. Very important to, taking children in and out of. And we know the families that were involved in that Ukraine. We know the Bidens, the Pelosi's, the Kerrys, the Obamas. We know they all had a stake in there. And some of them had residents in there. And they did a color revolution many years ago. And we saw Joe Biden on tape threatening people, threatening the prosecuting attorney who had Hunter Biden in his crosshairs. And unless they got him out and fired that prosecutor, then there would be hell to pay. So we know those people have been part of biolabs, biochemical labs, and splicing genes between humans and creatures. And we've seen pictures, we've seen videos, and they're playing Dr. Frankenstein with our children's lives. So this is escalating into the World War III scenario, which we were told about in 2021 when I first came here to expect that. We just didn't even know it was going to take this long. So now everything's converging, and Allison found a great video that will explain what just happened.
Hello everyone and welcome. There's been a massive escalation on the road to World War III. Israel has reportedly bombed the Iranian consulate building in Damascus. Iranian state media is also claiming that a senior commander of their powerful IRGC has been killed in the strike on their consulate building in Damascus. Footage coming out of Damascus shows part of a building completely destroyed. Emergency services are at the scene, and the final casualty figures are yet to be determined. Iran vows a decisive and harsh response to the killing of their top general in Damascus. This strike on the consulate building in Damascus comes just a few days after an alleged Israeli airstrike in Aleppo. That strike is reported to have killed at least 36 Syrian soldiers. Also this morning, there was a drone strike at a naval facility in the southern Israeli city of Eilat. An Iranian-backed group in Iraq has claimed responsibility for this drone strike in Eilat. Well, this seems to be heading towards an all-out regional conflict. Currently, there is a huge amount of coalition warships in the region, especially the Red Sea area. And in the past few days, a couple of Russian warships have also arrived in the Red Sea.
Okay, so I wanted us to have something to look at that will help you to stay calm, to stay prepared. You know, as we move into the eclipse, we have a couple of videos to share on that as well. Just remember, if social media goes down, you know, do you have the phone numbers of the people you want to stay connected to? If Facebook, Telegram, Truth Social, Twitter, X, YouTube, you know, we don't know what it's going to look like. I have signed up per Phil's recommendation for Q streaming to replace local cable companies, etc. And I love Q streaming. It's so fun to watch with my husband, his favorite shows and mine on there. So it's really, really coming to that escalation point. And so you may wake up one day to the announcement of war, to hearing sirens or air raid drills. We may move into, what is that, martial law? I believe we've been under partial martial law for the last 4 years or longer since Trump came into office or walked down the escalator. Not sure the defining moment. We know that J6 was a fraud. We know that COVID was a fraud. This pandemic to reduce the population to 500 million people, and they have stacks and years, 100 years worth of food. I don't know how much. It's ridiculous in the underground dumps. So they were preparing to annihilate us, and we have survived. They want our children. They want those children. You've got to know that. And the sooner that you can wrap your mind around that, because it is a mind bender. It is hard to believe. And yet it's our most important treasures, our children, our health, our bodies. We ought to be able to live to 300 years old, 400 years old. And Alex Collier says, if we survive the next 3 to 5 years, then we will have that ability to extend our lives if we so choose to. We've been told that there will be a moment of truth, a defining moment where we will choose if we want to stay or if we want to go. I personally kind of like hanging out here. And I'm really going to like hanging out here when all this is healed that has been done wrong to us. When we're given the power back to the people, we have to claim it. We have to take a stand. Now, that doesn't mean go in the middle of a city, Seattle or LA or wherever, New York. We need to be mindful that we are dealing with people who have been hired, like Antifa, to create those riots in the streets. And yet this time, the white hats, the National Guard will not stand by and watch it happen. They will take action. We're not having a repeat of 2020, 2021, you know, those big fires in Minnesota, I think it was, attacking courthouses and police stations, and you know that can't think of the gentleman's name who died. We have been fed so much bull, and our natural state of being is one of connection, relationships. We're wired for relations, especially women. We need to commune together. We need to be together. And so one of my favorite go-to guys is Mark Z. You can find him on YouTube, the original Mark Z, twice a day, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And then he does a show at 7 a.m. Pacific on Saturdays, and he has the CBD gurus in there. Mark is a very experienced man in the economic and financial area. He used to write for different periodicals. He's a wealth of wisdom, and he knows how not to bring his ego into his platform. It's really refreshing to have such a fun, loving heart man and his son. So with that, we're going to give you an update from the original Mark Z from this morning.
There's not a tremendous amount of news. We were hoping for more by this morning. I do see the time. Bond contacts. I do have a couple more with appointments today, this afternoon. I think my first one is around 3:00 Eastern. Today is the first one. I'll be trying to keep track to find out what the outcome is from that one. Very quiet otherwise on the RV front. We've got a lot of news breaking financially coming out of China this morning. China bank shares hit record low after disappointing earnings. They dropped, 15 points yesterday? No, 12 points yesterday and another 5.2 today already. So they have off 17% this week after a near 50% drop recently. So they are on the ropes. This is their second large and their most large scale anyways, and their most stable out of their property developers. And they are on the ropes right now with losing 65, almost 70% of their value in just a couple of weeks. Now we're going to compound that one with Country Garden. Property giant suspends shares in Hong Kong. Country Garden, yep, we got to freeze it. It is crashing so hard. They have suspended their stock shares in Hong Kong. And you're going to watch that continue to play out, guys. Now we're watching Citibank lay off 430 employees in New York across units. This is New York only as they scramble to change their business model. Yeah, they seem to be investing heavily in wealth management offices. Jabril, if bond info is true, what do you think our timeline? 3 to 10 days, Jabril. If what I believe happened, then I would say 3 to 10 days. And that's really what I am desperately searching for confirmation of. Cindy, yes, I'm saying it's possible. It's not confirmed. Person said, hey, I can't talk NDA. They had said previously that they would never do that to myself, themselves, or whatever, unless they had received dollars.
Woohoo! Now, I've also heard and read, as you may have too, that Iraq actually revalued over the weekend and that they wanted their people to enjoy the increase in value of their Forex, or pardon me, of their new currency. And it's worth more than it was before. However, things are being held close to the vest. Why? Because this is a movie and everything is in divine timing to escalate, come up. Why do you think that they had that Black Swan event, sinking that bridge? You know, General Flynn says Black Swan, it's connected to the financial system. And we've been told all along that as we get closer to the RV, they're going to pull out more shenanigans. And so we're watching the stocks right now. Allison, what's the market doing? I noticed today that the stock market, when I woke up, it was down 420 points. Then it was down 450 points. And so right now it's leveling out. Well, not leveling out. It's down 433 points. And this is what Phil had told us a long time ago, a year or so ago, that we'd see like a 500-point decline, then it'll go up and recover the next day, then another decline about the same 500. So we might, if this is the week where we see this bounce dead cat going on, then we know that this is the end, and we are, like Mark says, 3 to 10 days away from the revaluation of all currencies. This is going to be important because we know that from Patriot Princess, the final curtain call of the fake actors who've already been rounded up and dealt with, and the financial taking back our power over the fake stock market. It's built on a system called Aladdin. Bill said, bye-bye, Aladdin. And so all of this is designed to help everyone to wake up, because some people didn't wake up with the COVID pandemic. Some people didn't wake up from the election fraud that was in our face, if you were watching. Some people didn't wake up to the children, or to Q, or to adrenochrome, or to child trafficking and sex trafficking. Yet the financial markets are what's going to wake everybody up. Everyone will be dealing with this. And that's why we say have some cash on hand for a little while. The white hats don't want anyone hurt, and they don't want this prolonged any longer than necessary. So I see it as being quick and expeditious. And then, as people are being fed the videos, all of us, during this, when the military takes back control in public and tells us, or Trump does that famous tweet that we have been waiting for, my fellow Americans, 5 by 5, 55. We're talking about the message to my fellow Americans. This is it. So we're very, very excited about all of that. And we also want you to know, on a good note, how often do you hear about a crypto or your bank account that you could get, 8-9% on your cash value? Well, I have a little money sitting in Coinbase, and yesterday I watched Mark Z's son Zester, who's about 31 years of age. He's brilliant. He's a genius like his dad, and he did this one on the left. You can go to find him on YouTube, and plus he has a Discord channel, and he showed us yesterday how we can put that money from our Coinbase account, from our Coinbase account, and insert that into a specified crypto that Coinbase is going to pay us on our money. So I've got my ledger, I've got my video, and I need to do my homework and go over there and move it. I don't have a lot of money over there because I'm new to crypto, and yet we all need that map, the compass, and the guide. And I really trust Mark Z and Zester to help guide me there. You may have a wealth of information and know far more than I, because I'm a babe in the crypto land. Yet I believe that on the quantum financial system, it's going to be very, very important. And XLM is gold backed, XRP is gold backed, and XLM is silver backed. So right now I have money in XLM and XRP. And you know what? If you don't know how to do any of this, there are grandparents, there are people in their 70s and 80s learning it. And so we need to, strap into our superpowers and say, I can do this one baby step at a time, if you so choose to. I just thought that would be really good to share, because who doesn't want free money? I do. All right. So we have another video. I think Allison has the Eclipse video set up. We have 2 of them. This is the first one.
I was going to do Patriot first. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Great.
And then do the Eclipse. Yeah.
Okay. She's not on stage. Thank you.
Okay, watch this. Everybody is talking about April 8th. But did you know NASA will be firing 3 rockets into the eclipse? This project is called Serpent Deity. This is from nasa.gov. NASA to launch sounding rockets into moon's shadow during the solar eclipse. This is from Forbes. Why NASA will fire 3 rockets at the solar eclipse. But why is it called Serpent Deity? The serpent or snake is one of the oldest and most widespread mythical symbols. Serpent God is the name of this mission. Please tell me you have seen this symbol of NASA and the serpent. NASA in Hebrew literally means deceive. And watch this. In Genesis 3:13, and what is this that thou hast done? And the woman, Eve, said, the serpent beguiled me. What is that word beguiled? This is the Hebrew word H5377 or nasha, which means to beguile or deceive, but it gets better. 2 Hebrew words before this is H5375, which is also nasa, which means lift up to deceive. NASA literally means lift up to deceive.
Oh, shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.
Oh, yeah. You knew I was a snake before you took me in. NASA, the great deceiver. Super good stuff.
So my
Okay.
apologies on that one. It wanted to show that Eclipse one first.
Well, I thought I saw the Eclipse one queued up in the back office.
Well, if you're not aware, Mercury went into retrograde, which isn't a bad thing, people. It really is an awesome thing because it's a time that we step back and take a minute out to review things. But communications might get a little wackadoodle. So I'll just do my best. Just wanted to let you know. I'll go ahead and play the princess one too, if you'd like. But was that not powerful? I mean, he tied the snake in everything.
I love it. I love the synchronicities of it and the details and the planning. My goodness. Okay, so yeah, Mercury in retrograde. Notice how you're communicating with not only people, but with your technology. Because as Louise Hay taught us, everything, all thought going out matters. So if I'm cursing at my computer, instead of taking a step back and just allowing whatever mistakes or challenges we have and asking for the divine to show me where I need to go. That's how we operate every single day. And we are always shown exactly what we need to see in that divine moment. So let's see. So now we're doing the short. Yeah. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Patriot Princess.
Beyonce dropped her new album on Good Friday, 3/29. The name of the album is Act 2 of Renaissance. The first album was Renaissance, and this one is Act 2 of Renaissance. What is Act 2? Act 2 is the second act, the closing act of a movie. And Renaissance. Michelle Obama's Secret Service code name was Renaissance. Let's look at the Renaissance time period. It was a time in history and a cultural movement where they transitioned from the Middle Ages to the modern age. Just look at that name. Why did she choose that name, Renaissance? Look at that time period. There was big, massive changes in art, architecture, science, politics, specifically banking. There was new systems of banking and accounting introduced during that time period. And the Renaissance began in the Republic of Florence, the Republic, and eventually spread to the rest of Italy. And look closely at the album cover. She's a rodeo flag girl. What do those do? They gallop around the arena carrying their flags, signaling to everyone that the event is starting. The rodeo is starting. Start of the end. She's signaling this. Rodeo 57. Swan 57. Like Black Swan event. Wood 57. Like Lynn Wood. Katie 57. Bloom 57. Like Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom. Are they going to be one of the ones to come out about all this evil going on in Hollywood and the trafficking? Are they going to help bring it all down? Is Katy Perry related to Matthew Perry? Are they working together on the inside the whole time to bring Hollywood down? Ether 57. Phil did a whole live on Ether and a post on Ether. Wink 57. Risk 57. Remember the video of Phil walking through the hallway, winking, wearing his Risk shirt? Grays 57. Remember his post about Grays? It's all connected. Now look at her sash. It says Cowboy Carter. Jay-Z's real name, Sean Carter. Sean Carter 130. Good versus Evil 130. White Horse 130. Look at the color of horse she's on. The book of Revelations, Revelation 19. And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no one knew but himself. And he was clothed with a robe dipped in blood. And his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, and with it shall smite the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty God. And he had on his robe and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Notice the gold fringe on the flag. Gold fringe 97. Lockdown 97. Imminent 97. Takeover 97. Save America 97. Hang my hat 97. Phil said this in his video. Look at the album cover. Look at the picture. They're telling you it's dark, but she's in the light. She's exposed. She's in the spotlight. Spotlight 126. All Eyes on Me 126. Harvest 126. Died Suddenly 126. Witch Hunt 126. Trump was telling you the whole time, witch hunt. They were looking for the witch. Phil asked, where's Jay-Z and Beyonce? They're looking for the witch. Beyonce is literally a witch. She's the high priestess of the satanic cult. She's the head of the trafficking. Watch Beyonce. Watch Phil. Watch Trump. Watch Lynn Wood. It's all connected. Trump was telling you the whole time. Everything is connected. Hollywood, politics, Katy Perry, Orlando Bloom, Matthew Perry, everyone, everything. It's all connected. Dark to light. Get ready.
Patriot Princess.
I just love her so much. Patriot Princess, we would love to have you on our show. I never thought about the witch hunt being connected to hunting witches. Now, a lot of people don't like white magic, don't like tarot cards, don't like, alternative spiritual practices. I am open to looking at all of them except one. And one is the Satanists who do these rituals of child sacrifice to be able to be part of their group or club. And that is what's required. If you want to be a famous actress or musician or actor, comedian, whatever, if you want to rise to the top quickly, usually that's a red flag. And we didn't know any of that until these last 4 years. So please know that if you're still attached to people like Oprah and these famous singers, Beyonce and Jay-Z, there has been a lot of murder going on in the background, a lot of rape, torture. drugging people. And so we have Jeffrey Epstein over here in Epstein Island, and yet it's connected. The Q drops told us it's connected to more. And so the Hollywood rapping music industry, that and that's all being disclosed right now. And so this is such an important thing. And look at the biblical connections. This is why I am open to hearing the biblical connections, because as a metaphysician, I practiced following Jesus as a metaphysician, and that he said, you will do these works that I do and far greater, something like that. And so I've always taken that to heart. Okay, he's speaking to me. He's speaking to you. What can we do that is far greater than being a slave to the system, by being a part of the matrix, by breaking through, choosing, whether you choose to or not, choosing to stop paying the IRS, to not file. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying these are the things that's going to crash the system, because it cuts off the money, because our IRS funds don't go to us. They go to England and the Vatican. These are huge things that are going to have people just be so shocked. And that's why we're calling upon you to be there for them when they come running to their nearest conspiracy theorist to find out that it was truth. And yes, we knew. Some of us knew decades. Some of us knew for a year or less. Maybe you're brand new. And that's why I welcome you if you're newly subscribing to this channel, because we're here to be in service to you, having the best experience navigating the change, the money changers. Remember in the Bible, Jesus talks about kicking over the table of the money changers. He was pissed off and watching the deceit that he saw then. This has been going on for so long. All right, let me just read my love notes from Allison. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Oh, Chris just chimed in to say, hi, Mama. Oh, Chris. This is the gentleman who grew up with my son's family, our families. Chris, I love you, man. And I'm grateful that you're wide awake. It just warms my heart so much. And one by one, our friends and family will be waking up as well. So Janet asks, what have you heard about Bitcoin? Good question. I first heard that since it had been designed for nefarious purposes, it could not exist within the QFS. I've heard that too, heard it's going away. And yet I've also heard from Zester that it's about to do a split this month. I don't have the countdown timer up. And so I would go over, Janet, I would suggest you go over to Discord and join the Crazy Kryptonaut channel. Watch his videos, and it may have been cleaned up. It may have a place in the QFS, and that's yet still a mystery to me. I'm not 100% all in for Bitcoin. I've denied it this whole time because I didn't trust it, and now I know why. It wasn't trustworthy because, yeah, I could have made a bunch of money, and yet it was connected to moving children. So with that being said, and Colleen said hello too. That's so wonderful. I didn't see Colleen, but we're so grateful. There she is. Oh, my YouTube channel has been, we can't post on it. So we have this backup channel. Oh, these people are watching over on Facebook. Yay, Allison was able to bring their comments in. Oh, can I just show my adopted son, Chris? Mwah, love you. Oh my goodness. Tammy, aloha. So glad that you're here. Oh my goodness. So much love and fun. Chris, I don't know, maybe I'll see you this weekend. We're supposed to go over and watch our son and granddaughters ride their dirt bikes. You know what? That's one of my visions, is to get back on a dirt bike. Whether it's an electric dirt bike or a regular dirt bike, I love riding motorcycles. I love downhill mountain biking. Those are things I enjoy. And yet I've just put everything off to the side while I focus on this, the Great Awakening. So we're grateful that you're here and that you're watching. And Chris is letting me know his work schedule. All right. Okay, so where are we? We have an eclipse coming up. And I've heard anything from nothing's going to happen to be prepared to stay away from those zones where people are trying to gather and congregate. Personally, I'd just stay safe. Stay where you are safe and enjoy the experience of this full eclipse. And so now, Miss Allison, we're ready for your eclipse video.
The solar eclipse on April 8th is becoming a major event. The National Guard is being deployed, and the people are being advised to have 2 weeks of food and to fill their fuel tanks. This could all be explained due to the fact that tens of thousands of visitors are expected along the path of totality. But many people believe that they could be preparing for possible earthquakes due to the Devil Comet aligning with the April 8th eclipse, and due to the fact that in 1811, a comet also appeared in the skies during a solar eclipse on the same path and was followed by the biggest earthquakes in American history. Known as the New Madrid earthquakes, around 10,000 earthquakes occurred in just 3 months' time, the biggest being measured at 8.8 magnitude. They were the most devastating series of earthquakes in recorded history. But it was a different comet, and while some claim that a solar eclipse can trigger earthquakes, this scenario seems unlikely. This eclipse season is, however, a very rare event. The recent eclipses in August of 2017 and October of 2023, along with the upcoming one on April 8th, forms an Aleph and a Tav over the United States. The Aleph and Tav are the first and last letters of the Hebrew alphabet, the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. These eclipses mark the end of the great year, a 26,000-year period that starts anew with the dawning of Aquarius and a new golden age. Manly P. Hall wrote that high-level Masons designed America for a peculiar and particular purpose, a secret destiny to bring about a new Atlantis, or a new world order, wherein a king descended of a divine race will rule over all. In rituals, this king is symbolized as Apollo, Horus, or Nimrod, the father of Freemasonry, and is thought to be a descendant of the biblical Nephilim, or the Sumerian Anunnaki. According to Thomas Horn, this will happen in 2025, which corresponds to several documents published by intelligence agencies, such as Global Governance 2025, Global Trends 2025, and the 2025 Deagle Forecast on World Population. NASA is notorious for performing Masonic rituals based on the Egyptian mystery schools, Apollo being the same character as Horus, Sirius representing Isis, and Atlantis being the new golden age they hope to restore. And during the eclipse on April 8th, NASA will fire 3 rockets named after Apep, the Egyptian serpent god, whose goal was to devour Ra, the sun. And when the sun reemerges after 3 minutes of darkness, it will be likened to the rebirth of Horus, their new king of the golden age. CERN, known for practicing occult rituals at a statue of Shiva, the Hindu god who symbolizes death, destruction, and the end of an age, will be firing up their Large Hadron Collider to full power during the solar eclipse. And Israel, who is in the midst of committing genocide, is preparing to sacrifice a red heifer, a ritual sacrifice to prepare them for taking back the Temple Mount.
Red heifers, to be precise. Some Jews and Christians believe they're the key to rebuilding the historic Jewish temple in Jerusalem and to beckoning the Messiah. To understand, you have to go back nearly 2,000 years when the ancient Romans destroyed the last temple in the city. To rebuild it, these believers point to the Bible's book of Numbers. It commands the Israelites to sacrifice a red heifer without defect or blemish, and that has never been under a yoke. Only then can the temple rise again. Those sacred cows were showcased in Washington at a recent prayer gathering. Many evangelicals believe these red heifers will usher Christ's second coming.
We need the Messiah to come, right? So for me, the red heifer is red for the blood of Jesus Christ.
A massive altar already awaits, where the heifers are to be burned.
According to some believers, the ceremony needs to be performed right here on the Mount of Olives, looking directly into where the temple once stood. But something else now stands in its place.
Once they forcibly take the Temple Mount away from billions of Muslims worldwide, it will predictably thrust the world into the peak of chaos that these secret societies have been designing for centuries. And their plan is to bring order out of this chaos, with their divine king to rule over the world. But these are just rituals, and fear is an illusion. We can always choose love. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
I enjoyed how he ended that with love. And I actually read an article about this heifer sacrifice, and my heart goes out to all the Hindus who are watching this, because the cow is sacred in the Hindus' belief system. These heifers need to be 2 years and 2 months old, and like they said, unblemished and unyoked. Not quite sure what that means. And yet, you know, we have all these beautiful spiritual analogies. Pardon me. One moment, please. There is a lot of beautiful spiritual analogies to bring us together in looking at this as the higher consciousness, the Christ consciousness returning, the ascendance from that 3D, fearful, controlled ego mind in the system that we're in to one of spirituality. And when I talk about spirituality, as I said before, from my heart to your heart, and what I'm calling on is that we come together, whether you're defining yourself in a religion or spiritual practice, whether it's Christian or Muslim or Buddhism, it doesn't matter to me, because the people that I've been with over the past 35 years are people who are connected through the heart, through love, through peace, harmony, and prosperity. We're on the prosperity playground. Are you open to receiving the prosperity and the abundance that's on its way to you? Have you been like Wayne Dyer, and you'll believe it when you see it? Or have you shifted into your intuitive intelligence system, and that you feel whether it's truth or BS? I believe this is all truth, because I've been waiting for 35 years to see the collapse of the fiat dollar. I didn't know all the connections that we would uncover and discover together. And yet we're on a mission together here, right now, in this divine sacred moment. And this is all we have. This is what the 12-step communities teach, one day at a time, one precious moment at a time. So in every moment, if we are consciously observing ourselves and how we're feeling, what do we need to say? What do we need to acknowledge in our own lives that isn't working? And remember, focus on what you want, not what you don't want. So as I focus on what I want to see the earth covered with people in nature, singing and dancing, collecting their friends and families and communities for the acknowledgement of what has happened to us, what we've been through, the loss of our loved ones unnecessarily, and the rebirth of the world, and seeing the lands beyond that we've never seen, being able to come together individually and collectively to take a stand for our Constitution, or our new Constitution, because the old one's just been corrupted so horribly. Because I believe that whether you're gay or straight, whatever your personal sexual preferences are, it's none of my business. I don't sit around thinking about people's ways of having sex. It's about intimacy. Into me you see. We see each other as a divine light, a brother, a sister. We're all brothers and sisters. Yes, there are nefarious people. Yes, there are people who are going to be shown in your neighborhoods and communities who've been involved in, the practices on those days that they appoint through their 666, through their numbers, 9/11. When you study all of this, you see that Halloween, Christmas, different days are their most favorite to sacrifice on, to kill the notion that there is a Christ consciousness, that there was a Jesus Christ, that the goddesses, my goodness, it doesn't matter what your beliefs are. We're all aligning to take, what I call a return to our sacred power within us, within our mind, our bodies, and our spiritual awakened attitudes. How we are here is how we are everywhere. What are we putting out into the world? Are we bringing peace, love, and prosperity, or fear, division, and hatred? Bless and release all that no longer serves you in your life, no longer serves the children of the world. And yes, let's call forth the end, the curtain call of this movie so we can move into our beautiful humanitarian projects individually and collectively. I look forward to meeting you, those of you who are choosing to come to Hawaii after this is over, and it'll be a wonderful place to be real, be authentic, and take turns listening to one another, blessing and releasing that pain of the past, and dancing in the light of incredible bliss with the wild spinner dolphins, the humpback whales who are journeying back to Alaska right now, yet they'll be back in the fall. And everyone who comes to these retreats leaves feeling like they've just been through an experience that they couldn't have created on their own. And we can't create it on our own. We need you and me and Allison and Wendy and Carla and Colleen and Chris and everyone. I look forward to bringing my grandchildren to Hawaii for their first experience, bringing my sons. Where do you want to go? What do you want to create, and with whom? Because we're all holding each other's dreams and visions in our hearts as they go from a thought, a feeling, into reality. And so we will see you on Thursday unless we need to come on for a special report or a special live. Stay calm, go within, trust yourself, ask for help, have a buddy through this, a sister, a brother, a person who you can go through this with. And that's why we're here. If you're alone or if you have a community, we welcome you and we love you. And let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Aloha.
Whatever you believe in your thoughts will play out, but is the reason they don't pop into existence.
All changes take place in consciousness. The future, although prepared in every detail in advance, has several outcomes. At every moment of our lives, we have before us the choice of which of several futures we will choose. There are two actual outlooks on the world possessed by everyone, a natural focus and a spiritual focus. The ancient teachers called the one the carnal mind, the other the mind of Christ. We may differentiate them as ordinary waking consciousness, governed by our senses, and a controlled imagination, governed by desire.
The habit of seeing only that which our senses permit renders us totally blind to what we otherwise could see. To cultivate the faculty of seeing the invisible, we should often deliberately disentangle our minds from the evidence of the senses and focus our attention on an invisible state, mentally feeling it and sensing it until it has all the distinctness of reality. Earnest, concentrated thought, focused in a particular direction, shuts out other sensations and causes them to disappear. We have but to concentrate on the state desired in order to see it. The habit of withdrawing attention from the region of sensation and concentrating it on the invisible develops our spiritual outlook and enables us to penetrate beyond the world of sense and to see that which is invisible.
For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen. Romans 1:20.
This vision is completely independent of the natural faculties. Open it and quicken it. Without it, these instructions are useless, for the things of the Spirit are spiritually discerned. A little practice will convince us that we can, by controlling our imagination, reshape our future in harmony with our desire. Desire is the mainspring of action. We could not move a single finger unless we had a desire to move it. No matter what we do, we follow the desire which at the moment dominates our minds. When we break a habit, our desire to break it is greater than our desire to continue in the habit. The desires which impel us to action are those that hold our attention.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. You can find me at nancykerner.com, on social media, and remember the truth about you. You are a powerful and prosperous person.
The things that make you happy, go do those things. Like right now. What are you waiting for? Go!
Are you tired of all the pills in your medicine cabinet? I'm Linda Bamber Olson, the creator of the Wave Watch, a more natural approach with 1,000 frequencies for mind and body. You've got to hear some testimonies from people just like you. I absolutely love this Wave Watch. It has helped me with occasional aches, cramps in my muscles. I twisted my knee a month ago, and the Wave Watch has helped tremendously with the pain while healing. And how about this one from Debbie in Colorado? My left leg was hurt bad enough that I would cry when walking to the doctor. Doctor appointments are $170 and chiropractic sessions were $45 many times for the last 2 years. My hands and neck are stiff. My leg quit throbbing within 5 minutes of the session for bursitis, and 2 hours later, still no pain. Are you tired of all your pills and endless trips to the pharmacy? Why not try the Wave Watch with 1,000 different self-care ideas and put your mind at ease? It's the world's first sound frequency therapy watch. Wave Watch is not connected to the internet. There are no messy cords and patches. There's no monthly fee. It's very simple, easy self-care. And best of all, people are comparing it, saying it's like a med bed on your wrist.
To order your Wave Watch, go to wavewatch.com and be sure to use the discount code Nancy100 at checkout to receive $100 off your order today.